Yo, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the movie called The Wall. This movie stars Aaron Taylor Johnson from Kick-Ass fame. Now, I have talked about those movies very recently, so I figured it'd be pretty fitting for me to go ahead and watch and talk about a movie that, honestly, I probably would have never watched if I didn't become a fan of Aaron Taylor Johnson from those movies. And we have John Cena, or as you correctly say his name,
John Cena.
Now, this is a movie I really like, and I feel like it kind of went under the radar because it was like an Amazon Prime original movie, and the budget was really small, and it didn't really get much attention from what I remember. I didn't really hear about it ever until I found it in a fucking bargain bin at Best Buy. It's basically about Kick-Ass and John Cena's characters being stuck in post-war Iraq investigating this thing where a bunch of people are dying, checking out this pipeline, and it turns out it's a fucking sniper with like the greatest shot of all time. Kick-Ass's character gets stuck behind a wall. I know, shocking, you know, it's not like it's called The Wall or anything. And then from there basically just ensues like I guess like a psychological drama, which usually don't tend to be like my type of movies. You know, I kind of like my stuff to be a little bit quicker, you know, snappy, get to the point, get to the next scene, whatever it may be. But for some reason, there are some things where I'm like, you know what? This may not be my usual favorite type of thing, but for some reason, this works for me. I will say I kind of learned to love this movie after I watched it the first time, because when I watched it the first time, I was kind of, I don't know, I was in and out of it, and not really necessarily like completely checked out, but I'm like, all right, this is kind of slow, but once it like ramps up and finishes, specifically the ending for me, I just feel like it finishes perfectly, and I really love a good ending. I feel like everybody does, but you know, for me, it's like if you can make up for any of the slow bits or any parts that aren't really like that great, or maybe slow the pacing down a bit, and you can just nail that finish, I will forgive all of it. And this movie does that and sticks that landing, and also just has an amazing performance by Aaron Taylor Johnson. I mean, he is just incredible in this movie. It's basically just him the whole time. I guess a little bit of a spoiler on John Cena's character, but you know, there's more to it than you think. There really is only three people in this movie. It is John Cena and John Cena and Kick-Ass, and then there's the sniper. And this guy fucks with Kick-Ass's character more than I think you could even really like comprehend. It's pretty fucking crazy and pretty awesome. Like, I really love not only this guy's voice, because all you hear is his voice, you never see him, and the guy's voice is so like intimidating. I mean, he's basically a sniper that has this guy fucking pinned down behind a tiny wall, and he is just kind of just fucking with him, just having a conversation, asking like, hey man, how you doing? How's your kids? You know, how's your buddies? How's the pro wrestler I just shot right next to you? That's how impressive of a sniper he is. He can shoot somebody that you can't even see. This is actually a movie that I watched the director's commentary for, and hearing him talk about the fact that the guy that voices the sniper in this movie, who is actually based off an old like war, from what I've read about it, it's kind of like just a legend basically of like this sniper that was so fucking deadly and precise and all this, and he went by the name Juba. And they did actually say it in the movie. It's like, oh, we're dealing with Juba now. It's like, it's not really supposed to necessarily be like one guy, but it's almost supposed to be like this entity, which I just find super cool and interesting. But anyway, I was gonna say, like, with the comment or watching the director's commentary, the guy that voices Juba doesn't actually, like, he wasn't supposed to voice him. He was actually a placeholder, but the director Doug Liman said, damn, that sounds so good, let's just leave it in, which I just find insanely cool. Kind of a side thing that does crack me up, I was really excited to show my dad this movie, because I'm not lying, when I first watched this fucking movie and I finished it, I mean, my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, wow, I've never been hit with that type of feeling, or I mean, I have, but it's seldom. Like, I feel like everybody would agree that there are those movies or those things, if you just really love film, that when they hit credits or whatever it may be, just make you feel a certain type of way. And this movie did that for me, so I was insanely excited to show my father. And when I did, I mean, he takes my recommendations pretty seriously. Like, if I rave about a movie, and vice versa, if he raves about a movie, I will give it a chance. I will watch it, even if I don't like it. And I was very surprised when he did not like this movie. Honestly, in hindsight, I understand why he didn't like it. It was probably too slow. But for me, man, it was just like everything that apparently didn't hit for him hit for me. I just find that interesting because we usually have such similar tastes in most things. And this is one of those where it's like, yeah, he can say he liked things about it, probably just to spare my feelings, but this would be a movie that he would never watch again, and I just kind of find that funny, honestly, that I love it so much, and my own dad, that we usually love pretty much everything kind of the same way for the most part, or feel genuinely similar, This movie is not one of those. And when it comes to recommending this movie, I mean, I definitely would. Wouldn't make any fucking sense if I raved about it this much and didn't say I recommend it. But I mean, there is a reason that I went on that little sidebar about my dad. It may not be everybody's cup of tea. It might be too slow for you, whatever. But for me, it is a 100% recommend. I just love it to death, and I just don't see it being a movie that I'm ever not gonna stop, or that I'm gonna stop watching. Like, it's just gonna be a constant rewatcher, which is a big reason I think this movie still stands out for me, because I just keep going back to it, even though it's really not one of those movies I usually would, pick out and rewatch every year or so, maybe even more often than that. And I think with all that being said, now's going to be a good time to end the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure and let me know what you thought, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.